to achieve SAT dollar parity, demonetize the dollar, or accelerate Bitcoin's adoption. I was actually discussing it earlier today with Lepard. Between 2030 and 2038 is probably about when I'd stake money on it. It's all speculation based on the cycles, the timing, and the fact that things are growing shorter, stronger, and more tightly spaced, by emulating how in Strauss's model with the fourth turning, I am able to arrive at the time frames from 2020-2030 to 2038. In my opinion, 2008 marks the beginning of the fourth turning. The fourth turning has also persisted. The duration of the Civil War ranges from 7 to 10 years to 15, 20, or even 30 years. Therefore, if you take it as a given, 2028 will be 20 years from now, it would be 30 years from now in 2038, far before the year 2038. In my opinion, this monetary system will have collapsed. At Equity Management Associates, Lawrence Lepard oversees investments and is a vocal supporter of responsible financial practices, including Bitcoin. Lepard spent decades urging investors to hedge their bets against the perpetual debasement of fiat currencies by purchasing gold, both as a manager of gold stock funds and an advocate of sound money. The advent of Bitcoin, however, has made his work much simpler. The digital currency provides numerous advantages over gold, including immunity from fiat debasement and other crucial features that gold does not have. The main cryptocurrency will one day be worth millions of dollars per coin, according to Lepard's extremely positive price estimate in a recent interview with Gold Republic. This hopeful view is fueled by the persistent debasement of fiat currencies and the increasing worry that things will get worse in the years to come. Lepard was extremely enthusiastic during his conversation with Alexei Jordanov, predicting that the financial system will collapse and that Bitcoin will become the de facto standard worldwide between 2028 and 2038. Lepard foretells this future occurrence by applying the Strauss-Howe generational theory, which he utilizes to establish the start and end dates of the current cycle. He says that a new cycle has begun with the near collapse of the financial system in 2008 and is moving along quickly, particularly in light of the $315 trillion debt load that the globe is carrying. According to Lepard, the globe will go through a series of inflationary, hyperbitcoinization phases in the next years. Hyperbitcoinization refers to the point at which Bitcoin replaces fiat currency as the primary currency in the majority of countries. Here you may find excerpts from Lepard's interview with Gold Republic, in which he talks on the current situation of the US and worldwide economies, Bitcoin, and the push for a universal Bitcoin standard. Yeah, the dollar isn't worth anything anymore. All money is useless compared to franc. As for the Bitcoin standard, we're using it. Will some extent, I anticipate that will be the case. Yeah, I get it. Okay, indeed, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, though, I've been wrong many times when I was early. So I may be incorrect again and be early, once every 14 years. Yes, once more. There are two ways they can get out of it, I'll tell you that. There are actually three. Maybe the one where they do nothing at all is the one. Similar to the strategy we employed following WWII, which involves implementing extremely high inflation rates until the national debt is reduced to an acceptable level, allowing the government to regain control of the currency. They sort of rescue it, quote unquote. This is similar to a Volcker, but it's spread out over a longer period of time, maybe 7 or 8 years. When confronted with a similar situation, Israel acted similarly. The alternative would be to implement a temporary monetary reset, similar to the one that Roosevelt implemented, wouldn't it? And just like that, he seized the gold, recalculated its worth, and suddenly the dollar lost 70% of its value relative to gold. Someone in government could be smart enough to see that the current monetary system is broken and decide to do something about it, like split the dollar in half. Additionally, the value of old dollars is 10 times that of new dollars, and the new dollar is backed by something solid, whether it gold, oil, a basket of currencies, or something else entirely that cannot be created, so it is sound. The worst case scenario is if it all falls flat. Is my meaning clear to you? The other option is like Mad Max-ish. Yeah, there will be hyperinflation and widespread anarchy for a short while, but it won't be like Mad Max. I mean, we could reach a point where Bitcoin is significantly more expensive than the dollar. In Bitcoin terms, the two are equivalent, they're parallel. However, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, the dollar will lose its value when the general public realizes it's only good for transactions and has no other purpose. Just like the citizens of Weimar Germany in 1922, they will act accordingly. They intend to exchange dollars as soon as they get their hands on one. It is unpopular to hold. It's quite unpredictable. They simply wish they could escape from it. Gresham's law is the name of my law. You are selling money that you anticipate will have less buying power, and replacing it with money that you anticipate will have the same or higher purchasing power. Consequently, that procedure will be expedited. Similarly to the Silicon Valley Bank case, in an instant, everyone thought, holy cow, this bank has gone bankrupt. I need to withdraw my money immediately. Time is of the essence. It might happen in an instant. Because of how interconnected our lives are in the modern world, it's not out of the question that it may happen before 2030. When everyone in the country realizes the currency is useless and jokey, it starts to happen on its own. Because money is just that, a means of exchange that everyone uses when doing business with one another, and because, at least in the short to medium term, it serves its purpose. Its worth ought to be preserved. Well, we've shown that it can debase at a rate of 7% per year for extended periods of time while still being usable. However, you'll see when it begins to debase when you begin debasing 10% monthly. Inflation rates of 50% or more per month are considered hyperinflation. There have been 100 or more such episodes in the last 200 years, and the one happening in Turkey at the moment is quite modest. The Venezuelan currency became completely worthless due to a particularly severe one. There are many more examples. Hungary is just something you have to go through. There are a lot of them in Zimbabwe. The money begins off slowly but steadily increases in velocity, a trait shared by all of them. Swings become broader. The pace is increasing. Soon enough, everyone realizes that this is just a means to an end and decides to leave. I've decided to let go of this, and then it becomes really breathtaking. When I looked at the camera and the numbers, I thought it was about Turkey and the prices and items people were buying. I mean, the franc, I guess it's a Turkish franc, isn't it? The lira used in Turkey. Excuse me, but 1 lira, yes. In addition, the value of the Turkish lira has increased by a factor of 200 compared to just a few years ago. Consequently, it's clear that some of them are simply saying, hey, look, we can get 20 bips on trillions of dollars. Let's go do it. To a certain extent, I believe that some of them comprehend it. One of my friends, a rich guy, said, I don't know, man. I was talking to him. It was 50,000. I fear that many of them will make the same basic error. Man, my typical cost is significantly smaller, so I have no idea. He begged God he should have thought it when you told him about it at 25. Since then, it has increased by 100%. How can I go about purchasing it? I was like, listen, you just don't get it. Will $50 or $25 make a difference? If it's $1 million, clearly it's important. It was double what you got. However, the main idea is that it's increasing at a tremendous rate. As a result, I anticipate that many investors will make the age-old error of selling it after its value has increased by 200%. Is my meaning clear to you? Because they don't fully see the potential of what they have and how far this thing may go, I think many people will make that mistake. And so, oh, I see, that's quite acceptable. They are free to do as they like. But, it takes time to truly grasp the underlying nature of this thing and how much it will continue to rise for an extremely long period. You know this from experience and study. Laura, sales will continue to rise indefinitely. In other words, I concur with him. Additionally, I will provide you with an exemplary illustration. I have provided several instances. Upon its initial public offering IPO in 1984 or 1985, I purchased Microsoft shares. I tripled my initial investment. I had to purchase a condo. Guess what? I got rid of it. Am I correct? Did I make a mistake there? Why? Because it was the PC's foundational software layer. At last, Apple and everything else arrived. Regardless, I felt fantastic when I departed. Did I really make